Hello everybody, my name is John aka Wellsy and welcome back to another episode of the Wellsy Weekly Podcast, the show where I talk about anything and everything. Today, how you all doing? How you feeling? Are you feeling good? Are you feeling bad? I am personally feeling very relaxed. Yeah, definitely relaxed. And that's kind of what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about what's the best way to relax, because we live in a society these days, obviously, and we live in a place where there's a lot of stress, whether that's stress from work, from family, all sorts. Stress can come in many varieties, and it's probably a good idea to be able to relax. So that's what I want to talk about today. That's the question for today. What is the best way to relax, or more specifically, how do you relax? Right, because I know a lot of people relax in different ways. It might be doing a sport, it might be reading a book. Any of these is absolutely fine. I just want to know what yours is. So today I'm going to tell you some of the ways that I relax, and then hopefully you can share some of yours in the comments down below. Or if you've come from Facebook, just share it on there. So starting off, the first way that I usually relax is just listening to music. I am a massive fan of music. I do a music course for crying out loud, so I should probably be into music. But I listen to all sorts of music, folk music, country, I'll listen to reggae, I'll listen to rap, dubstep, electronic, classical, you name it, rock, anything, I'll listen to it. And I don't know what it is, I'll listen to it and I'll just zone out. I think I use it as a way to just forget the world for a little bit, just, live in my own little bubble. And the good thing is, I can listen to music anywhere, so if I'm ever feeling stressed, I'll just put my headphones in, I can just zone out, I can just chill out. Especially on a train, because I don't like trains, people scare me a little bit, especially when it's like really crowded. I'll also do it if I'm just studying or reading. I've got to have something in the background. Maybe it's the radio, maybe it's just a playlist that I've put on, maybe it's inspiration for like a new guitar song I want to play. But yeah, listening to music is one way I definitely relax. Now the next way I've tried to relax is, it's going to sound a little weird, it's by doing like really mundane, boring tasks. Not for ages, because then I'll feel drained and I'll just feel like I don't want to do out, you know what I mean? And no, it's just doing stuff like washing the pots or cutting the grass, that kind of stuff, where it's just like, it's not going to take forever, but it's like 10-20 minutes of just zoning out, focusing on a task that's not a lot of effort, not a lot of brain power, and it just chills me out. And it's again another way to just like zone out the world, forget what's happening. I think that's important. I think that's what relaxation is in general, to be honest. It's just a way to take away that stress and focus on something else, whether that be cutting the grass, or something else, like if you are into sports, if you do boxing, maybe you're just like focusing on like a certain technique. And finally, the last way I relax is by meditating. Now I know it might sound a bit weird if you've never tried it, because I'm assuming if you've never tried it, you're just assuming it's like crossing your legs on a mat going for several hours. I mean, it can be that, but I think it can be so much more. Like you could just be closing your eyes and focusing on breathing, or maybe to listen to a meditation music or a track of someone saying something pre-planned. Basically it's just giving your attention to something other than what you're worried about. Just a way to take your mind off it. But meditation is quite helpful, and I think it works well personally for me, is because when I was younger I've got asthma now, but it was a lot worse when I was younger, and I had asthma attacks a lot, it was pretty bad, and I had to learn not to freak out when you can't breathe. So I quickly learnt ways to calm down in a stressful situation and just learn to breathe, which is easier said than done when you don't have the actual strength to do so. Growing up with that probably made it easier to get behind like meditation and breathing techniques. But if you've never tried it, I recommend you do it. Well, give it a try, because it's well worth it. And who knows, it might actually work for you as well. So that's just some of the ways that I try to relax. If you've got any other ideas, let me know down in the comments down below. I'll sure to have a look and try some of them for myself. Now, talking about relaxation and ways to relax is all good, but sometimes life is just too stressful and you cannot avoid it, can you? Some days you just want to rip your hair out, nothing's going right, you bang your head on a rather hard surface, that kind of day. And as you can imagine, I've had days like this, we've all had days like this. Shocking, I know. So I think I'll share a few of them with you today. Starting off with my driving theory test, right? Because let me tell you something, I have never been anywhere so quiet, scary quiet, and I don't like quiet places, I freak out a little bit. So, this was like terrifying to me. My mate, he drove us to the test centre and he waits in his car and I walk into the building. Nothing out of the ordinary until I walk in through the door of the test centre and there's just a room of 20 people just stop what they're doing and stare. They're like, ooh, fresh meat. It was terrifying. Honestly, I take one step in and then another because that's how walking works, and then the door slams shut behind me. My god, I jumped out my skin. Like, I'm a really jumpy person. When it comes to loud noises and just people saying boo, you know, I'll freak out. So now I'm even more nervous because I've just slammed the door. Everybody's staring at me. I'm sweating buckets at this point because I'm already nervous for the test, and the people in the room are just staring at me. You know, they're like, fresh meat. And it's just a really stressful environment, and it's silent. I've never heard a place so silent. So anyway, I get to the desk. Whether her name was Doris or not, I have no idea. But she looked like a Doris, so Doris she shall be. She hands me the info and the form to fill in, so I go sit down. And to my left, there's this lass who's trying to avoid eye contact with me. I mean, she was totally digging the sweaty mess, obviously. To the right, there was this guy who looked like one of these quote-unquote cool kids. You know, the ones that are doing the smoking and the weed and probably start every conversation with, you get me blood, yeah, well sick, in you. And I'm not a quote-unquote cool kid because I don't do the smoke or do the weed thing. I prefer a cup of tea in one hand, watch them bake off at 10 o'clock at night. It's sad, yes. Do I care? Hell no. Right? So, I sit and wait to do the test. And the time finally comes. I go in, I get patted down by a rather handsy old lady in case I have any notes or anything like that, and then I go in, right? It's very odd. And I do the test, panicking of course, you know, in case I got this question wrong and I got that one wrong. And at the end, when it was all over, I go to the desk. Now, I didn't know you got the results there and then, so Doris gives me the results, and I just look and I shout, yeah, sorry. Probably should have waited till I got outside before looking at the sheet, but lesson learned. I did pass, so that was good. That was good, you know. But overall, it was pretty stressful, to be fair. Purely not because of the test or anything like that. Well, slightly because of the test. It was mainly because it was quiet and I'd made a loud noise, basically. Honestly, it was my worst nightmare. Now, I have to mention this. I get stressed if I'm late for things, right? And people fall into two categories when it comes to being late. You're either one of those people that are early for everything, or you're one of those people that are 2 hours late because you don't understand the concept of time. I understand time, therefore, I'm early. Two of my friends, however, do not know the concept of time, so they are late for everything. All rushed. Let me explain. So, it was the last day before I moved out of my uni flat, and I'm chilling with three of my mates. We'll call them the couple and Gary. It's not his name, but we're calling him Gary. And someone has the bright idea of going, oh, let's go watch a movie right now. It's 7 o'clock at night. The movie isn't till 9. So me, being foolish, thought, oh, we could make it in time. Oh boy, oh no. That was one of the most heart-pounding experiences I've ever had. Because the couple wanted to cook dinner before we went out. It's perfectly reasonable. We got 2 hours, it'll be fine. They said it was going to take half an hour. And it would have if you'd added an extra hour to that. So, it's half an hour before the movie starts, and in my head, I'm thinking, we're not going to make it. And Gary's thinking, how we man, we're not going to make it. And the couple are still making food, and they're telling us, we'll make it, right? So, just need to get your shoes on. So 10 minutes later, we finally have shoes on feet. Good start, right? And then we're waiting for a taxi because nobody thought to order one beforehand. We're all very stupid, right? So, 15 minutes till the movie starts, the taxi arrives. And the taxi driver starts driving, you know. And he wasn't a normal driver. Oh, no. Because most taxis, they're madmen behind the wheel, aren't they? They think they're in the movie speed, right? So they just can't slow down. This one was the most safe and slowest driver I have ever met. Now usually I would applaud him, give him a pat on the back, go on mate, good for you. But we're in a rush mate, the movie starts in 10 minutes. Embrace your inner GTA and get me them 5 stars. That is what I should have said. But instead I stayed silent, which then made me even more nervous. So I had to sing Staying Alive in my head, as you do. Good song by the way. Anyway, the movie has now started and we are still in the taxi, right? 5 minutes after the movie starts, we arrive. Luckily, you've got about half an hour of adverts, so we're fine. We walk in, we get the tickets, and the guy's telling us, like, if you were any later, you would have missed the movie. And me and Gary, we just look at the couple, shaking our heads. But overall, it was an experience. So yeah, being late to things is pretty nerve-wracking, especially surprise movie trips. So if you're ever planning a surprise movie trip, don't. Quite nerve-wracking, to be honest. But anyway, now that I've relived that nightmare, I think I'm gonna have to do some hoovering whilst listening to Shakira, right? Thank you for listening to today's podcast. If you've enjoyed what you've heard, let me know down below. Or if you've got any stressful stories, let me know down below as well. And we can suffer together, But anyway, that's it from me. And as always, enjoy a cuppa.